Hello and welcome to Tax Tapes. My name's Adrian Huston, and in a past life I was a tax inspector, but now I'm a tax consultant and I'm here to help. Today's podcast is about HMRC's decision to offer us a 6-month service. And I'm wondering, should we use this as a chance to maybe pay 6 months tax, pay 50% of our tax bill? Because if they can't give us a decent service, why should we give them decent taxes? HMRC did a pilot last year, and this pilot included closing their taxes helpline, their phone helpline, for a couple of months over the summer. Now, they were criticised for it, and they got away with it. They said that, there was a bit of a peak once they opened up again, but then things settled down. But they didn't really give a damn about the fact that they had ignored people who had tax queries over the summer holidays. So then, coming up to the big tax deadline of the end of January, they decided again, we'll close the taxes helpline because we got away with it before. So they closed it over December and January, just when people needed it most. Now, a lot of people still tried to phone them, but even if you phoned them, if your query turned out to be something which you could obtain the information online, they would just refuse to talk to you. So, they have now decided, having got away with those two closures, they're now making it permanent. The taxes helpline, the phone helpline, will close on the 8th of April, and it will reopen on the 30th of September, all over the summer. Now, why is this? Well, HMRC says they want to encourage us to go online. Yes, they've been trying to do that for years. But there's another thing at play. They're running a pilot themselves now, a pilot work system, annualised hours for some of their staff. It's only 100 staff at the moment, but again, if this works out okay for them and they don't get too much blowback, this could be extended substantially. And what it means is that staff can work shorter hours over the summer period in the expectation that they'll then work longer hours in the winter. And some of the winter months are indeed those peak months when there's most demand on the tax system. But at the end of the day, it is not acceptable for a government department to say that it's only going to offer its service for 50% of the time. We do not need to be the guinea pigs as to whether they can find out a way to let their staff be happier over the summer or make the school holidays easier. We need a service that's there every day, at least every weekday, not just the few months that HMRC decides to open the helpline. And what about this thing about going online? Yes, lots of people can go online with HMRC. They can set up a personal tax account. And then from that, they can do things like check their national insurance contributions and add on self-assessment, and they can file their tax return using the revenue software. But not everyone's comfortable going online. Some people just physically do not have the capabilities to do it. They either don't have a computer or a suitable phone or the skills to feel confident that they're logging into the right thing in the right way. Other people aren't allowed the accounts due to security issues and where their tax records are kept. And yet more people may not be able to pass the various ID checks that are an integral part of being allowed access to your tax affairs. Obviously, you would be wanting them to have decent security so that some spoofer can't log into your tax affairs and maybe pretend you're due a tax refund and get it paid to them. But not everyone can go online or will go online, and they shouldn't be forced to. The result of this measure of closing their telephone helpline means that someone who's trying to work out something with their tax or help before they file their tax return, they'll not be able to do it in April, May, June, July, August, September. So then all those queries get bounced into the later part of the year. And all the tax returns then get filed later because the people have been waiting to resolve some issue they wanted to speak to somebody about. Not an unreasonable request. And filing tax returns later on is a bad idea. I always encourage my clients to try and get their tax returns submitted by the summer. Because if you get your return in early, then you know what tax to pay with the most warning, so that if you don't happen to have the money lying around, you can save up for that January tax bill. Or if you make payments on account, you can see whether you really need to pay that one at the end of July. So it's a really bad idea to force people to file their tax returns later because you can't be bothered to offer them a telephone service. So I've got 2 calls of action for you today. If this annoys you anything like as much as it annoys me, firstly, contact your MP. Very easy to find out who they are if you don't know. Just Google it, who is my MP. You put in your address and you will be told who your MP is and their email address. Just send them a quick email. Doesn't have to be a long story. Just please make sure that HMRC keeps their self-assessment phone line open all year. That's all it needs to say. And secondly, get your friends to do the same. Because if loads of people contact your MP, they will discover this is a really hot topic and they want re-elected in sometime later in this year in the election. So they're even more attentive to what their constituents are upset about. So if enough people contact their MPs and tell them this just isn't on, it's a tax service for all the year and we should have a phone helpline all the year. They've already closed all their tax offices. They've already closed the ability to walk in and talk to a human. Now they're denying us the chance to talk to a human over the phone. So get your friends also to write to their MP. And not just those friends who file a tax return, but just any friend who will do it for you, because it's in all of our interests that the public sector realises we pay their salaries and we expect a good service. If we wanted to pay just 50% of our tax, then maybe they could give us 50% of a tax service. But since they want to give us 50% of a telephone service and yet want us to pay 100% of the bills, that just ain't on. So please, write to your MP and ask your friends and relatives to do the same. With enough pressure, the MPs will put pressure in Parliament and HMRC might just have to back down and open their phone lines all year. Thanks for watching.